What's going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. In this episode, we'll be previewing the huge 2021 season. It's going to be a bit of a long episode, so grab some popcorn, strap yourselves in, let's run the intro, jump straight into it. So just before we do jump straight into it, of course, follow me on all my social media accounts. It should be popping up here. If you are a new Swooper, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If you are a returning Swooper, welcome back. Thank you so much for rejoining me. It means a hell of a lot. Also, thank you to Reptile Apparel for having me on as an ambassador. Head over to their store, reptileapparel.com.au. Put the code SWOOP10 in for 10% off their range. Anyway, let's just jump straight into this preview. 2020 was absolutely insane for the Collingwood Football Club. As we know, it was a roller coaster of a year. We saw some of the best of Collingwood. I'm talking about the Western Bulldogs game, the St Kilda game, obviously the West Coast game, to some of the worst stuff that we've put onto the park. That Geelong game was absolutely, insane. And then you've got to think of the Giants game as well. That Richmond game that we drew. It was an ebb and flow of a season. And when we thought we were clicking, the next week just proved that we weren't clicking. But in saying that, we had a lot of injuries. We blooded a bunch of new players as well, which is nice to see the kids come up in the ranks. But, when you miss Jeremy Howe, Steele Sidebottom, Jordan De Goey, they're three of your big playmakers as well. We'll put in Will Kelly in there, because he would have had more games as well. Mychek to a concussion, Pendlebury as well. It was the classic Collingwood injury curse, which saw us finish 8th. 7 losses, 9 wins, and a draw. We were only off 6th spot by 2 points because of that draw, pretty much. But, look, other than that, there's not really much to say about the season itself. Like I said, we had the highs and the lows. It was just kind of a nothing season for us, which started off with so much promise because of what happened in 2019. COVID, I guess, just took the air out of us. The hub affected the players. But all we can do now is look to the future. So some gains and losses from off-season. The off-season was a season in and of itself. If the regular season ebbed and flowed, the off-season just roller coasted and snowballed into this big, massive cluster F, a cluster bomb of just bad salary cap management, and we needed to clear some salary cap space. And that saw Adam Treloar leave, Tom Phillips leave, Jaden Stevenson leave, and then, R2 Bozinovalagi left as well. I don't think that was much salary cap. That was probably just opportunity. We saw a lot of players retire. A couple get delisted. Dane Beams left. Travis Varco, Lyndon Dunn, Flynn Appleby, Matt Scharenberg. The list goes on. Who do we bring in, though? A bunch of rookies and a bunch of just draft picks. We had a plethora of draft picks to use, thanks to all our trading and stuff. Not top 10 draft picks to use, but we brought in some really good kids. Ollie Henry, Finlay McRae. We got our boy Reef McGuinness as well. Bo McCreary, Jack Ginnivan, Isaac Chubb, a couple of rookies. Then you got Liam McMahon, Caleb Poulter. What I liked about that is where you don't want to say the R word, you don't want to say rebuild, but we are in the midst of a renaissance of the Collingwood Football Club with everything that happened off field, not even just on the trade table, with the Do Better report with Eddie Maguire and stuff. 2021 is going to be a renaissance for the Pies, and I wholeheartedly believe that we are now on the verge of a new era of the black and white Strops. What to look forward to this year? Going to the footy again. I had just gotten my tickets for this Friday night's game. I am ecstatic. I am over the moon. That's one of the biggest things this year. We're going to be able to go to the footy. We're going to be able to watch it live. The boys are going to ride our momentum, and we just ride the wins and ride the losses, and we'll ride the season with them right there, not from our living rooms anymore. We're also going to see a lot of the young kids come through, and I don't mean just like Ollie Henry making his debut or Finlay McRae coming through or Reef McGuinness. I'm talking about John Noble taking it up to another level, Will Kelly going to another level when he comes back, Josh Dacos, Braden Sire, Isaac Quaynor. These guys, Mark Keane, these guys that will be vying for those few spots that we have, but also looking to the future because Jeremy Howe's not going to be there for long. Jordan Roughhead, as much as I had to say, Scott Pendlebury, Steele Sidebottom. We do have an old list, an old top-end list, you know what I mean? With a bunch of guys in their 30s that won't be there for the next, 2 or 3 seasons. So we have to blood these players. Keane, Isaac, John Noble. Chris Mayne's not going to be there. We've got to put someone on the wing. John Noble's coming down onto the wing. Like I said, it's a renaissance of the Collingwood Football Club, and we will see it with all these young kids coming through. But in saying that, we're not going to bottom out. I feel like we are going to take it to the next level. I'll talk about a little bit about that later. I do feel like we're going to take it to the next level, though. But it's going to be exciting to see the old and the young. It's just going to be game on. Another thing that's going to be awesome to see is how our backline, which has been touted as one of the best in the AFL, and you can see that, with what the numbers we were able to put up last year in regards to our, letting scores in. We had a really good defense with Jeremy Howe back, with another season, our preseason under Isaac, another preseason under Johnny Noble as well when he pushes down there. Especially with Jeremy Howe back, we missed him. I think round 4 last year was his knee injury from the Giants game. And you could tell that we just missed his presence there, made Moore defend a little bit more. He wasn't that intercept marker. We had Magin in the team. So it's going to be really good to see how well our defense does, because we are a great defensive team. It's just that attacking side that it's a little bit up in the air. With the likes of Adam Treloar leaving and Tommy Phillips leaving, there's a bunch of gaps in the middle. Another thing we're going to love to see is Jordan De Goey absolutely dominating in the middle. Yes, he plays his best footy up forward, but who's to say that he can't be the next Dusty Martin, playing, 70% in the middle, 30% in the forward line, kicking 4 goals and having 25, goddamn touches. That's something that Jordan De Goey can do, and we've been seeing it throughout this preseason because he has been working so hard. He looks lean, he looks ripped, he looks like he's got more fuel in the tank to just go, which is what we need now that, Adams, Wills, and Phillips aren't in that middle anymore. Of course, there are big question marks surrounding our season. And this is not to dull down this preview, but look, there are a lot of things that have to go right, and there are a lot of question marks, that are around the team, and that's fair enough because we've put them there ourselves. Going from a grand final in 2018 to a prelim in 2019 to getting smashed by Geelong in 2020, where does that leave us in 2021? I'm not going to answer these questions. These are just rhetorical. You can answer them in the comments if you would like. I'm just going to give a bunch of questions out, and we'll review them in the middle of the season and at the end of the season. First question, will we be able to contend for a premiership this season? Number 2, will the loss of Adam Treloar, Jaden Stevenson, Tom Phillips come back to bite us on the arse this season? Number 3, who takes over as president now that Eddie Maguire has stepped down? Is it someone from the club, or will it be someone outside of the club? And what does that mean for Collingwood going forward? Number 4, does Buckley get a contract extension? You got to remember, this is his last season. Do we move him on after 10 years of no premiership success? And, this is Buckley's team now. We need to win a minimum of 2 or 3 finals for him to get that extension. But that's a big question looming over our heads. Number 5, can we kick goals without a big key forward? Yes, we have Mason Cox, Murray Demychek, and Darcy Cameron, but they're not key forwards. They're not a Jeremy Cameron type. I'd even go so far as to say like a Finlayson, like a Hawkins, a Joe Danaher. That's what I'm sort of talking about. Yes, Mason Cox is great, but will we be able to kick a winning score that takes us to a premiership with the forward line that we have? And the last question of 2021 is, who's hosting the 2021 premiership after party for the Pies? Where's that gonna be held? And here are my 5 players to watch this season. Number 1, Isaac Quaynor. I love this kid. I've been talking about him since the very first episode of Swoop, Luke, which was the 2019 JLT Community Series against Fremantle. I'm pretty sure that he made his, preseason debut. You probably correct me if I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that was the one. I love how this kid goes about it. I love his pace. I love the way he uses the ball. He's got another, I think this is his 3rd preseason, so he's got another preseason under the belt. He will take his game to the next level off that half back line. Would love to see him pushing up into the middle as well. he's got a great kick, hitting up those leading forwards if possible. Number 2, I've gone with a guy that hasn't even played a game yet. I've gone with Finlay McRae. There's a lot of raps on this kid. Better than his brother was at that stage of his career. No Treloar. Scott Pendlebury, isn't slowing down yet, but Scott Pendlebury needs a successor. No Rupert Wills, Tom Phillips, Chris Mayne's out of that midfield as well now. Finlay has got, big shoes to fill. But from what we've seen in the preseason, no, he hasn't played a televised game yet. But from what we've seen in the preseason, from training and from all reports, he's an absolute jet, and he will debut this season. My third player to watch is Mason Cox, my big American boy. He has to kick over 40 goals this season. That's his benchmark. He can do it. He can turn a game on his head if he just gets his arms and mark that ball. And if the umpires want to give him free kicks when he's getting held every single time. But look, Mason can kick 3 or 4 goals a game, and I know, not even a lot of forwards do that. Yeah, but Mason isn't like a lot of forwards. He's a non-conventional key forward. We just have to play him out of that square and just as a lead-up forward, not this whole ground bullshit. In the 50, he doesn't leave that freaking 50. He doesn't leave that square. He'll kick 40 goals this season. My fourth player to look for, Jordan De Goey. Talked a little bit about him previously. I want to see him dominating the midfield. I think his pass mark this year is 20 plus disposals and at least, 1.5 goals a game. My last player is Brodie Grundy. He came out and said that he didn't have the greatest time in the hub. That's why his, mental game wasn't there, and that's why he didn't back up his 2019 All-Australian form. So that's forgivable, but he needs to come out and dominate. He needs to be that All-Australian ruck. I think that's his pass mark, a top 40 All-Australian finish this season. He's going to have a big season, though. So 5 players playing for their career. I've got number 1 as Will Hoskin-Elliott. Didn't have a great season the last 2 seasons, really. 2018, obviously, he was huge. 2020, he didn't. But in saying that, the coaches like to play him off that halfback, like to push him up. Yes, he might be able to play off halfback, but he does his best work in the 50, can take a good mark, can kick a good goal. But he will be playing for his career this season. Number 2, Josh Thomas. Same boat as Will Hoskin-Elliott. I love Joshy Thomas. When he's on, he's on. But just has to find the ball a little bit more. Has to at least score a goal a game. I think that will be Josh Thomas's pass mark. Number 3, Max Lynch. This is a bit harsh because it's hard to crack into a side with Mason Cox, Darcy Cameron, and Brodie Grundy all vying for that ruck role. Obviously, Grundy is the sole ruckman. But Max Lynch has to find a way to even get past Darcy Cameron. I think that is Max's way in, and he will also be playing for his career. I think Braden Sire needs a huge season. There has never been a better time for Braden Sire in the team than right now. No Rupert Wills, so forget about who do we play, Wills or Sire. Sire has to be first picked. He has to get in and under. I don't care if he gets 10 disposals, but if he's throwing his body around, if he is crashing and bashing those packs, that's exactly what I want to see. He needs a big season. And last but certainly not least is Nathan Buckley. He has to pull an attacking game plan out of his ass, to be honest, if I'm going to be really honest with you. Our defense is great. It's so good. But we have to see a more connected midfield to forward line. And I know that's got to do with disposal efficiency, but it's also the game plan. I love fast change or handballs if it works out. If there's a kick there, you take the kick. You don't try and, pepper it. You don't try and run up to the goal line to kick a goal. You see it in soccer a lot where, they just try and walk it into the net pretty much. If you need to take a shot from outside the box, you take a shot from outside the box. If you need to hit a target, you hit a target. You don't try and handball to a guy. I'd rather them kick 50 metres into the forward line and for it to come straight back out other than handball into a guy that's just about to get tackled anyway. Gain those meters, create that 50-50 ball. Don't create a stoppage when we have the momentum. So here are my thoughts on our 2021 season, what our pass mark will be, and just me blabbering on. So I am optimistic, but with no basis of being optimistic. It's just a gut feeling, but I think we will finish in the top 4. I think we'll finish 3rd. I think that everyone's saying we're huge sliders or whatever because we've lost Treloar, Phillips, and Jaden. They're just idiots. Look, they're just plain wrong. They're just idiots, to be honest. No offense, but with peace and love, But I think it's just really stupid. Like, they're acting like we lost Scott Pendlebury. They're acting like we lost Sidebottom, Adams. Are you kidding me? We lost Treloar, we lost Stevenson, and to an extent Phillips. I don't know. I don't think they're the big of a loss that everyone outside of the Collingwood Football Club and their supporters are making it out to be. And I do think we will finish top 4. In saying that though, we honestly could finish outside of the top 8, and that could be the nail in the coffin for Buckley. Not could be, it will be the nail in the coffin for Buckley if we do finish outside of the top 8, because the thing with Collingwood is we're capable of winning a premiership every single year. I know a lot of teams will say that, but we are actually capable of winning the premiership this year. But we are also capable of falling into the bottom 6 because the team just isn't gelling anymore. That's very worst case scenario, and obviously premiership's best case scenario. But those are the extremes that the Collingwood never fall in between. Those are the 2 extremes that Collingwood do. I do think it's going to be a hell of a fun season, especially now that we get to go watch the boys. So on Instagram, I asked everyone to give me their big calls for the season. There is over 70 comments, so I'm going to read some of the best ones. Not best ones, I'm just going to read some of the ones that I can see. Johnny_Frawley says, Buckley won't be our coach next year. That's his big call. There was a couple of those, actually. Nick Hall 00 says, DeGoey to win the best and fairest. Ashira Silverstone says, Tate Adams Brownlow. Sam Twining said, Finlay McRae ROY with a surprised emoji, which I can only assume is Rookie of the Year, Recruit of the Year. That is a big call, but like I said previously, I do love a bit of Finlay. Let's see, who else have we got? Fiddy says, unless injured, Nathan Murphy will play over half the season in the ones. Nathan Murphy, yeah, Jesus, bit of an unsung player, but the coaches like him, so yeah, I'd love to see him back into the side. Ben O'Neill Mansell says, how Grundy, Adams, and Maynard to get All-Australian, Adams to get Brownlow. That is a big call. I said big call, and that probably is the biggest call. Patrick's One says, Baby Magpies win 2021 flag on the back of Cox kicking 50 plus, DeGoey finishing in the top 3 best and fairest, Dacos kicking 30 goals from the midfield, Grundy wins a Brownlow, Sidey to kick 30 as a small forward. Insane if all those 6 things work out. I said the other one was a big call. That is the biggest call. Jesse Pav says Cox will kick 60 plus. There are so many good ones. Luke Hiscock says Pendles to win the Brownlow, and that's where I'm going to leave it because our boy Pendles, the GOAT of the Collingwood Football Club, needs to win the Brownlow before his time is up. Actually, I just saw this one now. Almost Blues Brothers just said smiley poo face emoji. Fuck, I hope we smash Carlson in round 2. God damn. So anyway, this was my preview of the 2021 season. Lots of my thoughts. As always, I'd love to know your thoughts. Leave them down below. On Instagram, I'll be dropping my best 22 of the season, how I see it. It's a little bit unconventional, but that will drop tomorrow maybe. I don't think I'll be able to make a quick video because there is a lot on. So I might just drop a graphic onto Instagram, which is @SwoopLuke. But if you've watched it until the end, leave a swoop down below. I really appreciate you all. In the meantime, like, comment, subscribe. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you all later.
Ooh la la.
In this episode, we'll be reviewing... No, we won't be. We'll be... What's the word I'm looking for? Reviewing... Processing? Previewing. Dickhead. Anyway, let's just jump straight into this review. Fuck!